Is VR still the future of gaming? I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this. Not that long ago, home VR headsets finally became cheap enough to be accessible to the average person. And with that, a lot of companies went hard into VR. Facebook had the MetaQuest, Valve had the Index, and even PlayStation had PSVR. And most of these headsets did pretty well, with lots of these companies saying that VR was going to be the future of gaming, and some of them saying VR was going to be the future of the internet. However, now that a few years have passed, it's clear that that wasn't the case. The PSVR 2 flopped hard, and while Facebook and Valve are still making new VR headsets, interest in them is not where it used to be, which is surprising. Because for decades, people have been fantasizing about VR in their home, getting immersed in a VR world. And now that it's here, nobody seems to want it. And I think there's a few reasons for that. First, it's a lack of compelling software. There are plenty of fun VR games, don't get me wrong, but there are very few truly compelling VR games. Barely anything that reaches that AAA game quality that you'd expect from a dedicated piece of hardware, with the only one in my experience being Half-Life Alyx. But really, I think the main reason is that VR just isn't that cool. This kind of goes with a lack of compelling software, but despite its current ease of use, I think people just aren't that into it. Playing a VR game is so different from playing a typical video game that they're almost two completely different audiences. There are definitely people who love their VR headsets and use them pretty much every day, but I think there are even more that just don't think it's as cool as they expected it to be, and would rather just play a normal game.